Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, I want to talk about something that I always refer to. I find myself referring to it and saying, like, I need to do an episode on that, but I haven't yet done. So today, I would like to share my experiences with the spiral and how it has unfolded for me. So, first of all, I not that I've ever searched if anyone else is talking about the spiral, but about maybe a year ago, no, actually no, I have to start way before that. So, um I'm going to kind of give you guys my threads on how I discovered the spiral so that you can see how the process came about. Okay, so first, the first inclination that I knew the spiral was definitely a part of this whole process was when I learned how to read the Akashic records. As soon as I would say the prayer to get into the records, my body would start moving. And now, whenever I'm connected, my body moves in a circle and it's always counterclockwise. So my mind was observing that as like interesting. I wonder what that's about. And then about a year ago, let's see, I was listening to some music and this song came on, which I've heard many times, but all of a sudden it took on some completely different meaning. And I'm going to link the song below it from Spotify, but it's called The Circle and it's by Michael Looking Coyote. And essentially, as I was listening to the song a year ago, it all kind of dropped in and I was like, oh my God. So everything in the universe or in our universe is in a circle, anything in nature. So in this song, it's a Native American song, and they talk about how they worship in a circle. The birds form nests in circles. If you watch the air, it whirls in a circle. Everything in creation is a circle. And I remember as that was like settling in, I opened up to a part of me that I didn't understand before, which was that we as human beings, when you open up your portal of your body, become this energy vortex, which looks like a funnel that comes into a sieve and then kind of opens up back up to the earth. And the body itself would be where the sieve is, where the thin point of the vortex would be. And if I can find a picture, I will put it here. But what I understand is that when we move in the counterclockwise, or we are receiving higher frequencies, it's a counterclockwise motion, and that energy is moving down into the body. And then when we are bringing up energy from the earth to the ethers, it's a clockwise motion. So you will find that depending on what you're doing and how you're working with your body, you will move and sway naturally if you let go in one or the other direction. For me, because I'm usually receiving, it's always counterclockwise. So then when I started this podcast, I talked about how my awakening, or what I call my awakening date, happened when I was at a street fair and there was a tarot card reader and she told me that I was cursed. And in that, like in the next like few hours, I knew that she was connected because she definitely told me things about myself that only someone that was connected would know, but that she was using the energy in a dark way, and meaning that she wanted me to give her, I think it was like $2,000 to do some candle work to remove these curses. But in that like few hour period, I know energy. I remember energy, and I know that what's happening here. And that sent me on my quest to Google, what is energy? Is there such a thing as an energy healer or worker? And that's how I found my first mentor. But now that I have gone through many experiences. What actually happened for me is that the week before that happened, I was in Istanbul at a wedding. And in that wedding, they had Sufi dancers who, if you know anything about Sufism or Sufi dancers, it's called like the whirling dervish. And essentially, it's a meditative practice that these beings are swirling, are rotating around in a counterclockwise motion. And they have these beautiful garments on, which again, if you're watching the video, I'm going to try to insert some video that I took of that particular evening at that wedding, because I was a fully third dimensional being that day. And I remember being mesmerized by these Sufis. And I took, I don't even know, maybe 10 videos of them, slow motion, regular motion. I just was mesmerized. So now what I know is that that was actually my activation. There were codes that that I had anchored in the lands of Turkey or Istanbul. And as those Sufi dancers came in to this wedding, and started doing this movement, all of a sudden these codes dropped into me, but I wasn't conscious of them in the moment. So it took a week for them to activate when someone talked to me about energy, that I was like, actually, I know what's going on here. And from there, I kind of always knew that when we receive, it's going to be in this kind of vortex energy way. So even when I talked about activating the 144,000 avatars, that's what it is. It literally is allowing your vortex to open, like allowing that energy to move you and move your energy so that you are in the right place, right time, right situation. And all you're doing is, in a way, being in cohesiveness with that flow of energy. Now, a lot of the time, that means like, I don't know why I do the things that I do, or I don't know, like, for example, we're going to Colorado in a few days for 10 days. And of course, as any trip comes to the point of us leaving, signs start coming in. The first sign was the woman that I met at the retreat last week, Ginger. She happens to be in Colorado right now. And then I'm going. And then yesterday, I found out another friend of mine who works in energy and medicine is also in Colorado. So there is something happening in Colorado right now. And I don't know why. I know Richard usually picks up on it first and tells us it's time to go. And me, I feel like I just have to follow that momentum and allow that vortex to move me where it's supposed to be. And then that's the first equation, is the receiving, but then it's the also grounding it and being, in nature and in a way, because I'm choosing to do this consciously, being conscious of that vortex energy. So the first time that I saw this on someone was I was reading someone's energy, and I could clearly see it looked, and I might have spoken about this, but it looked like I called it a blender. You know how the blender has like those different layers of blades? And it was moving, and it was rotating and spinning. And the way it showed it to me was that her energy was able to affect many, because it was always moving and pulling new information down. And all we have to do is kind of get out of the way and let that information move through us. So the reason I wanted to talk about this today is that if you haven't connected with your spiral yet, tune into it. That is your higher essence. That's how they communicate. That's how everything is rotated down through the body. And I would even go so far to say is like, us in energetic form, we're not solid. We're always moving and whirling. And imagine, some people call it like a sphere of fire, but it's a rotation. It feels like it's constantly in motion. And it's like, it picks up and lets go as it rotates. So when we pull information down to the body, again, you are pulling from that sphere, from that energy that's wanting to move into you. Again, recently, this friend of mine who I talked about that I first saw the vortex in, she brought up the other day that instead of calling it a download, we should call it an upload now, because when all of your chakras are open, you start receiving from your heart portal, and that energy, that spiral, starts moving through the 8th chakra. So then, is it coming from the crown? No, it's coming from the heart, and it's going up. So it's uploading into the information, into you, and therefore it's like, instead of a down, it's a up. And I was like, oh, I like that. But the whole point of this is that we are moving into very strong energies for the summer period. And I'm going to, if you haven't seen this, Zaneta did put out, I think a week ago, an energy update for what to expect in this coming summer. And essentially, what we have to do, at least how I feel it, is hold your center. And again, I always talk about the center, because as that vortex and spiral are rotating, it's all around you, but you have to find the center space, or else you're going to be carried away with it. And it's like such a fine line between being a clear channel and getting caught up in the noise, because there can be a lot of information that's whirling around you. And are you at the whims of the information, or do you bring it in, hold it, discern it, and then let it go, drop in? And I think what we're learning and what we're being tasked to learn at this point is the difference. So I don't know. I think this message is coming through because recently we've had different energies showing up in the Schumann resonance. And what it feels like in my own body is like heavy. It feels really heavy and kind of like my gravitational pull got stuck or like doubled. And so, like, for example, this morning I was trying to get out of bed and it was like, nope, you're not going anywhere. And I could not lift myself up. And it felt like just a density. But is that because as these new waves of information are coming in, the only way that's possible is by releasing old densities? So like I said, that it's that sieve that gathers and releases and also receives and brings down. So in my case, I think what's happening is there's densities that are moving through my field that I'm allowing to move through my field. But in that, I'm very conscious that I'm not doing a lot, but I feel exhausted. And in these moments, it's like, can I give myself the grace and the space of what's needed without necessarily needing to consciously know what's happening? Now, because I understand how my energy works and how I pull information in and how I release information, it's like in the case of going to Colorado for 10 days, it's like, okay, I'm going to bring my recording equipment and probably record there. But also, like, can I be on the road and more fluid with as these energies are going to be moving in through the summer? Can I just hold the center and allow that energy to move as it needs to move through me? And I'm bringing this up because I know it's not just me that's doing this. So it's like, can you surrender to the spiral and understand that this is all ancient teachings that we've known for so long, and it's just a remembering of that dance? Because honestly, it feels like it is a dance. Like in my, I'm not sure if I talked about this, but in my my recent ceremony, when we went to sleep, or everybody was done for the day and we were laying down, I never fall asleep in the medicine, but something that I was working through in my own body that night was, I asked, can we just have the mind kind of cut down just like 20%. 20%. If it was less 20%, I would be perfect. And they were just laughing at me and they were like, no, you're like negotiating your mindset. And they said that after you've already embodied, it's then a reincorporation of the mind, but from a higher perspective. So we need the mind to be here to be able to say, like, I don't know what's happening, for example, in Colorado, but I see a bunch of my friends going there intuitively, and I'm also planning to go there, so something is going on there. And then it's like that, then whatever, planning the trip, in my case, like aligning with Richard to go and whatever. But the mind is needed in order for the body to function in this land. But we have to incorporate it back into a higher degree of frequency, because we can't be here without the mind. And the mind just needs to understand that as we are more connected with that vibration that is moving through us, the mind really has less and less say involved. Like, I find myself in the right place in the right times with the right people over and over and over and over. And I'm going to give this example. Yesterday, I had recently purchased a new computer, but I got a MacBook Air, thinking that would be fine. But the new ones don't have the card reader on the side. And so I had gotten this external drive to do it, and it kept dropping the card reader, so I couldn't transfer the information from the card reader. Long story. But I decided I had like a 2-week period to exchange it if I wanted to. So yesterday I went to the Apple store, and it was a Sunday and it was super busy, but I had made an appointment to do this exchange, but they needed to do a migration, which would have taken, they quoted me 24 to 48 hours, which I live an hour away from the nearest Apple store. So I just said to the genius representative that was helping me, I don't live in town, and it would be hard for me to come back because we're also leaving on this trip. And I don't know what it was, but in that moment, I became human to her, and she said, "You know what? Hold on. I'll be right back." And she comes back with the store manager and said, and he's like, "Hi, Lauren partnered with me and kind of let me know what's happening. And I'd like to just do it now. If you don't mind waiting, we'll just do it now." And I'm like, what? But I also knew in that moment, of course they're going to do it now. I didn't get mad. I just said, like, this is my situation. I'm going on a trip. I can't get back into town. I need the computer, but, and I kind of realized that if we allow that vortex of energy to move through us, even when we're stressed out and potentially not going to have all the equipment you need to whatever function, the people that are surrounding you, let's say, and are serving you in this case, were the right people. And I looked down at Lauren's hands, and she had a moon tattoo on her thumb, and I just knew. And she had some sacred geometry on her palm. And I didn't have to say it. I just sent her energy and was like, of course, of course, we are always going to be in the right energies when we need them. And I think that's, even though the mind got me to the store and drove the car, my soul and my vortex, my spiral drew in the right people to let that transaction happen. And I'm trying to show you in a third dimensional reality, which I hadn't been to the mall, and I don't even know. It's been at least 3 years, probably. I don't even know. And even in that, like, I was like, should I put a bubble around myself? And I clearly felt like, no, I want to do a toroidal field where I can receive the information from who I need as I move through this experience of being in third dimension. And look, I instead of putting a block around myself and holding that solid protection, I was like, I'm ready to hold and receive those that can see me from the place that I am. And it happened. Like, it all just came together and worked out. And I feel like the more that we understand that you're not working as an ego here anymore, we are working as a much bigger energy field. And it's like, imagine this toroidal bubble following you everywhere, and it draws in the frequencies that can see it. And all you have to do is receive it, really. All you have to do is, like, if you notice, like, you sit in meditation, if your body starts to want to rotate in that direction, just be, I remember being kind of curious about it, but just allowing it, because it's saying, like, I'm ready and I'm hearing you. And not only am I hearing you with my mind, but my body is at service. Like, that's how I feel. It's like an opening of a door to something that's not me as a person. And I want you guys to know too that everything in this experience, and we've talked about this so many times, is that spiral. And that's why I say, like, I pretty much go around my spiral once a year. And then if I didn't learn the lesson the first time around, it literally comes back the next year, right around the same exact month for me to learn it again. And if I don't drop that density, it's not gonna, it will not, it's like this pebble in the road that's still going to be there when you get back there. It's not going away, and you are not moving up until you get that lesson. So I was talking with my cousin yesterday, and I was telling her my experience of reaching out to my sibling again, and she was trying to understand why, even if I had already apologized, why I would apologize again. And I said, you know what it is? Getting to the place where if you've done the work and you've reconciled in your own mind what you needed to say and blah 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 blah, but the person isn't able to receive it or accept the apology or move on, if you hold the bigger perspective, that means you don't carry the ego attached to what you're expressing. So if it means that you need to say it again for the other person to know, for example, I miss you and I love you, regardless if it's not received and the relationship isn't rectified, I don't carry an ego anymore to care that I've already said it. Where before I would be like, I already did it. The door's open, But I was like, but is it? And because the lesson came up for me right before ceremony, I knew it was like a checking of my ego and saying, like, okay, yeah, you did that. You apologize. You said you're ready and open to have the conversation, but can you go even further? Like this act of selfless service to love, for love's sake, not because this person actually is in the wrong or I'm in the wrong, or, like you let the story go. And can you just give from that place of unconditional love, regardless of, again, if it's received? Because all we can do is share that vortex, that spiral with others. It may be that they aren't even hearing you anymore. It could be that your frequency has gotten to such a place that it's not even heard. It doesn't even matter to them anymore, right? But I really believe that that's not the point. If we do the work and you do your side of the equation, you draw in what you are. It may not be that person anymore, but it will bring in the next octave of love that is ready to receive what you are putting down, right? Or what you're emanating out of that energy. And so I was trying to explain it all to her, and she got to a point where she was like, I see. It's just literally, it doesn't matter what was. It's saying from this day, I'm able to say, I love you unconditionally, and I'm here for whatever capacity you're capable of. And then, like, crazily, I thought that it would come up in ceremony, and it didn't, because I did it. I did the work in this reality. So the energetics of it were gone already. It wasn't something I had to move through in my field, because I had already reconciled through the ego why it mattered that I do it, why I reach out again and again and again. And I don't know, how often that will happen. Maybe it's going to be once a year. just to test the waters to see maybe there's a little bit of a crack of light that is able to come filter through to that person, but maybe not. And I still believe that I know I needed to do it. So it's like, is that vortex or that spiral for just us? And definitely the answer is no. We help other souls move through this spiral. We help bring energy down to the earth through this spiral. You're just a part of it. You're not it. So it's like, okay, how big can I expand my service to others, so that this spiral can keep growing? Otherwise, it kind of gets stagnant and it's like, okay, where are we going from here? You got to keep growing it and growing it and growing it. And I guess like the point of this is to know, like, tune into your spiral, find it, commune with it, allow it, love it. It is you. And for this episode, I pulled a card from the Kyle Gray Keepers of Light Oracle cards. And it's the card Hope, which is love and acceptance. And I'm going to read it because I think it's beautiful. Love is yours. Recognize your divine worth. Choose loving thoughts. Hope is an angel who is dedicated to promoting the idea that we on earth are loved, cherished, and supported by the kingdom of heaven. She is all about helping us see the light beyond whatever darkness we are in. Traveling as part of a Holy Trinity, faith, hope, and charity, she helps us to recognize that hope isn't about wishing for something good to happen or help to arrive, but trusting that support is already present. Hope is the twin flame of Archangel Gabriel. She has a gentle presence, but she is absolutely glorious. She sings sweet harmonies to us, and these songs are waves of love washing away anything that stands between us and self-love and acceptance. Angels are gathering around you in celebration that you are finally willing to see how loving and lovable you are. Hope is here with her legion of love angels, guiding you to see that you deserve love, loving relationships, loving experiences, and loving acceptance from the world around you. It seems that you are really moving beyond the limitations that you once had in this department, but know that whenever you do question your worth, you can call on Hope to shine her golden light upon you. Your angels want you to know that they love you and cherish you, and they're grateful that you're giving yourself the same support. So that's what I'm talking about in this spiral. It's a constant movement of energy, and the more that you believe and spread out that unconditional acceptance of everything that is, even the people that, you're like, what are they thinking? But still loving it. Then when you move about your day, you're going to receive that back because it's just your field. Like, you're literally creating your own field of energy to move through. And I think that's all I want to share today, but I just want to say that I love you, and the circle and the spiral are everything.